We're going to call this meeting to order on January 8th, 2026 at 6:30. Can we get a roll call, please? Here.
Vice Mayor Bloodsworth,
Here.
Commissioner Grunder,
Here.
Commissioner Howell,
Here.
Commissioner Whites.
Here.
All right, so tonight we're going to have invocation by Pastor Jacob Newton from High Springs Church of God.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Let's pray. Heavenly Father, we thank you for this evening. We thank you for this city commission that you have allowed to be here to just order our city. I pray, Lord, that you would just give them wisdom, give them clarity, give them direction. I pray for the city staff and those in leadership. Just continue to help them, be with them, protect them from anything that would cause them harm. And Lord, I just pray for a spirit of unity to be among our city. Lord, I pray that High Springs would just flourish because of your blessings and your favor. And we give you praise and we give you thanks for it all. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, now we will have the approval of the amended agenda.
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion we approve the amended agenda.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. All right, approval of the consent agenda.
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion that we approve the consent agenda for December 11th, 2025.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. All right, we have no special presentations on tonight. Unfinished business item number 1, discuss and consider an act on a solid waste franchise agreement.
So, Mr. Mayor, you, at the last meeting, we asked Waste Pro and GFL to come back with a presentation with some of the questions and information you had. So, that they're here tonight, we're gonna, Kevin, you wanna go first? Thanks.
Good evening, Mayor, Commissioners. Great privilege to be here, especially on my 47th birthday. I greatly appreciate it tonight.
Happy birthday.
Yeah, appreciate that. And again, last thing I want to do, I know everyone's time is very valuable to them. Though, as Commissioner Bloodsworth has asked for me to supply the rate and the following information, what we have with the Alachua County contract, you know, it is a stance of GFL Environmental Southeast that we want to rescind. Furthering possible negotiation for solicitation for the franchise agreement. We do understand that, you know, this may be of a shock. However, with the allowable time frame of the end of the current contract you guys are under right now with Waste Pro, and then the start of this of October the 1st, that the time frames just do not align in an appropriate fashion. So,
All right, well, thank you so much and happy birthday.
you as well.
Thank you, Kevin.
All right, did Waste Pro have anything they would like to say?
Mayor, Commissioners, City Manager, City Attorney Dana Williams with Waste Pro. I think the only thing left to say is we would love a motion to renew with Waste Pro, and we would intend on working with the City Attorney with coming up with an addendum to the current contract and bringing it back to you for approval.
Mr. Mayor, before any motions, I'm not going to try to influence your motion, but I wanted to remind you from the last month about the possibility of doing a 5-year contract with Waste Pro, with Waste Pro still amenable to 2 years of no CPI.
I apologize, I should have stayed. Yes,
Okay.
5-year contract, we would hold, there would be no CPI increases until October of 2027. And as a reminder, we also have not done CPI increases since.
I was just going to mention
Yeah.
that. So when I originally called you and said, you know, we're going to look at doing a presentation with GFL and Waste Pro, we knew that Waste Pro was well within their right to raise by CPI this year. They wanted us to get all the information and be able to look at everything, and they still waived the CPI this year as well, so.
All right.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion that we make a 5-year contract with Waste Pro.
Second.
All right. Any citizen comments? All right. All those in favor say aye.
Can I ask? Sorry. Cut me off. I'm sorry, I just had a couple questions. Diane, can you tell me what we're currently being billed for a residential can? Because I've
I
got,
believe it's $24.50.
is it still, because I've got this spreadsheet that I got from you, and I've got 2450. And then, so that would go up by, we'll say 3% maybe in next year? It's not 2450? 2027, okay. But CPI would say, I mean, we'll just wager, I guess, we don't know. But 3%.
Currently, it's $24.50 per house per
Okay.
month.
Okay,
That will stay the rate until October of 27.
gotcha.
I can't predict CPI in 2027, but we can assume maybe 3%-ish, I suppose, you know. But I obviously don't know that yet.
Okay. And then all of the commercial rates are going to stay as they are right now as well, and they would go up by CPI as well?
Correct.
Okay, so, I mean, based on what we're being billed and what we're billing, we're in a pretty good position in terms of financially.
Our costs with the current rates that we're charging, yes.
Okay, okay. Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Sorry, thank you, Mr.
Oh,
Mayor.
no, you're good. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed, same sign. All right. Citizen requests and comments for issues not on the agenda. Please limit your comments to 5 minutes, and the commission will respond after everyone is done with their,
Thank you.
you're welcome, request.
David Lynch, L-I-N-C-H. High Springs Brewing. I urge the city manager and the commissioners to think about those 3 words. High Springs Brewing. The commissioners and the city manager want the name of their city associated with a product that kills 7,000 people each day.
All right, if those are all the citizen comments, we thank you all. New business item number 1, discuss and consider an act on declaring public works items as surplus.
Bought 2 brand new lawnmowers, and we're wanting to sell our oldest, 2 of our oldest lawnmowers, and we're also wanting to sell our plotter. Surplus it.
May I ask, Mr. Mayor, what's a plotter?
It's for the sign shop, it's the printer.
I mean, that's what I figured a plotter
Correct.
was, so it's the same thing? And we
Yes.
have a plotter?
For the sign shop, we bought a, it's about $1,500.
Have we ever used it?
No, we've never used it.
So,
And
for
we're not-
sure, like new condition.
Yes, it's brand new.
Okay.
So is the verdict with the sign shop, is it going to be dismantled?
Yes,
Okay.
yes it is.
Because right now, isn't it like a AC unit in there that's running?
That AC unit was put in, but it wasn't installed correctly. It's not running.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is that the only equipment we have for the sign shop is the plotter?
And there was a few things bought with it, like the paper and stuff like that, but that's it. And
Okay.
like a plastic for the top of a table. Yeah.
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion, we approve surplusing these 3 items.
Second.
All right. Any citizen comments? All right. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed, same sign. All right, it's surplus. Discuss and consider an act on appointing an elected official to attend the Alachua School Board meeting as our elected representative.
Mr. Mayor, the Alachua County School Board has reached out to us. We haven't heard from them. I haven't heard from them since I've been here, but they've asked that we send an elected representative to represent High Springs in matters with the school board. So put it up to the commission who they want to send to represent.
And this item came up because I actually have to attend something else that same day, so.
Oh, that's right.
What time is that?
I
Is
can
it
look
usually
up.
in the evening?
It's in the evening. School, let me double check.
Mr. Mayor, if I might ask, we've never been asked for this before.
No, not since I've been
I
here.
I don't recall this. I don't think we have. I mean, it's nice, though, to have a seat at the table, but it's just a once-a-year kind of thing. It's not every meeting, right?
I'm sorry?
It's just a once-a-year invitation, and it's not going to every school board meeting?
No, it's not every school board meeting.
Okay.
I'm just trying to find the time at the school board meeting.
Mr. Mayor, I'll throw my name in. I'd attend that meeting.
I'll second that motion.
Yeah, good enough for me. I make a motion that Commissioner Howell represent us on that date.
I hope my wife's not watching.
All right, do we have any citizen comments? All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed, same sign. All right, Commissioner Howard, you'll be attending.
I appreciate you, man.
Now,
Thank you.
you know.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Item number 3, discuss and consider an act on the site plan for Acorn Storage Expansion at 1770 Northwest US Highway 441.
Mr. Mayor, Commissioners, Kristen Adkins, your planning technician. This is a commercial site plan to expand the existing Acorn self-storage located off of US Highway 441. At the December 15th, 2025 Plan Board meeting, they did recommend approval 5-0. The plan submitted to us does meet all of our requirements in the LDC, and I will hand it off to the attorney because she has to do ex parte communication with you all because it's quasi-judicial.
Yes, Mr. Mayor. Yes, Mr. Mayor, this is a quasi-judicial matter, so first order of business is anyone who will be testifying regarding this matter, we would want to swear them in. The following item is also a quasi-judicial matter, so I'm happy to swear everyone in on both items for purposes of expediency. So as to the Acorn storage site plan, or as to the, I apologize, I had to scroll down. The site plan for the convenience store. On either of those two items, if anyone intends to speak to that issue, if you will please stand, raise your right hand to be sworn in. All right, I'll have you go down the line and just say your names first. All right, do you all swear or affirm that the testimony you give today will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Okay, you are all duly sworn. For the commissioners, again, we can, because both of these are the same quasi-judicial, I'll ask about both as to either the site plan for the Acorn storage expansion or the site plan for the convenience store. Have there been any ex parte communications by any member of the commission? Just a reminder, an ex parte communication is anything that's happened outside of a public meeting, any communication you've had. No?
I've
Mr. Mayor,
spoken to Mr. Marshall and Christie about these with some questions.
Okay.
Oh, I've spoke to Christie about it, but nobody outside the city.
And what are the general contents of those conversations?
I wanted to know if Mr. Menandier would be here tonight, that is somebody who could answer questions that I had with respect to some of the specifics in the geotech reports.
And mine was with the convenience store down there where it was located next to a home.
Okay, so questions regarding that location. All right, so I think that we left off on Catherine. Any ex parte communications? Me. Okay, thank you. For the two of you who did disclose ex parte communications, do you feel that anything that you communicated about before today will influence your opinion or your decision, or will you just make your decision based on the facts presented?
No. That's fine.
That's a no, and that's
Yeah,
a no.
that's fine.
Okay, certified for the record, 2 no's. I'll kick it over to you, Christy.
I was actually going to kick it over to the applicant. So if the commission has any specific technical questions, they are here to answer it. Otherwise, the site plan meets our code requirements.
Menadier Engineering. So here to answer questions on the Acorn Self-Storage Project.
I don't
And
have
I
any questions
apologize.
on that one. There was a difference, and this is just nitpicky, but in the soil borings, the subsurface on the figures, it says clayey sand. In the report, it said sandy clay. I know that's,
I think that's a Scribner's error with
Yeah, but-
translating it back and
I
forth.
mean,
but
I'm
yeah,
hoping that it's sandy clay.
the
Or, I don't know.
right and the porosity and the I'm drawing a blank. The perk rates that we use,
Right.
the horizontal and vertical perk rates were straight out of the report. Clay sand versus sandy clay is a classification for the sand. We use the
Right.
test results, so
Okay.
that shouldn't
Okay.
impact or does not impact.
I was pretty impressed with these soil boring logs. I mean, what's out there, it's rock solid.
Oh yeah. Well, look at the DOT pond to the east of us is dry most
Yeah.
of the year.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it was good soil.
Yeah. Thank you.
And I apologize, Christy, I didn't ask you or the applicant, are there any materials other than what's in the agenda packet that you want to move on to the record?
I do not. I think everything we submitted as far as permitting is substantial for.
Okay, thank you.
Nothing from me either.
Excellent.
I'll make a motion that we accept the site plan for the Acorn Storage Expansion at 17770 Northwest US Highway 441.
Second.
Any citizen comments? All right, thank you. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed, same sign. All right, the site plan is approved.
Thank you.
All right. Discuss and consider an act on site plan for convenience store.
Mr. Mayor, this one is a commercial site plan for a convenience store. It'll be located on a vacant parcel that's off of 27. Similar to the last item, the plan board did recommend approval 5-0. And they did get some pretty substantial architectural changes on the facade so that it would match the historic district a little better. So no other questions from me on it. It meets our code. We do have the applicant here, so if you have any technical questions, they are the one to ask.
Yes, I have a question.
Yes, sir.
Since this convenience store is going down there next to a home, I was just wondering if it was possible, if y'all would consider maybe having a privacy fence on the west side of the property, if that would be
We
possible.
certainly, yeah, we definitely want to have a fencing around the perimeter of it, especially with the retention pond and stuff. Obviously, that's going to be fenced in.
Yeah.
But yeah, for the privacy of the lot itself and to the neighbors nearby, yes, sir.
And the only reason why I'm asking, we've had issues with the McDonald's, the Tractor Supply, and the fitness center. I'm just trying to get ahead of it. If we can somehow run that privacy fence down there and maybe connect it to your chain link fence, I don't know how far you
Sure.
want to do that, but
Yep.
just to have some sort of barrier to stop a little bit of sound, if y'all would be willing to do that. I mean,
Certainly.
we can't make you do it. I was just hoping
Well, I
maybe y'all would
understand that. I
consider
mean, we're
that.
here to try to comply and make everybody happy around us. We're
Yeah.
not trying to, bully our way into the streets and upset the neighbors nearby or anything
Right.
like that. My client's been here for years and years and has run the store nearby
Yep.
for years and years. A lot of people know him around the area and respect him well.
Well, it's
So-
just when that commercial starts bleeding into the
Yeah, I
residential, people get a little upset about it.
Completely understand, yes, sir.
And that's all I was asking.
Yeah,
though.
keep that segregation
Yes,
from
sir.
it, yes, sir.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah, no worries.
I wanted to say, I think this looks fantastic.
Man,
Fit
I
good with
looks
the-
totally
good.
agree with you. And I do appreciate the comments and the extracurricular little details added too. I think that's going to look really well around the windows up top. We're just going to do some adhesive foam pieces and stuff like that to give it that arch detail around the square window. So that way we still know that we're good and watertight with the metal building application and stuff like that, but it will look more, I guess, antique-ish.
Yeah, it'll fit nice
Yes.
with that,
Yes, sir.
historic district
Yes,
in
sir.
there. So I appreciate y'all working with
Yep.
us.
Oh, man, that's what we're here for.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Mayor, if I could, please. I attended the Plan Board meeting where the Plan Board asked for all of these architectural design elements, and I
Yes.
want to thank you
No,
for,
yeah.
because what this looks like compared to the original rendering,
Right.
it's miles, and
Yeah.
it's not required by our code. You're doing it because it was important to the Plan Board and for it to fit in, so I just want to say that I appreciate that very much. And even just the arched windows makes a big difference.
Right. Well, like I said, my client, he's been here for a long time. A
Yeah.
lot of people know him. A lot of people respect him and stuff. We're here to make the citizens happy.
Yeah.
We're here to put into the city and hopefully bring more revenue in.
And-
you
and
know,
the
and
brick-
eventually he's
the
going to
brick on the
continue
bottom makes a
building
huge
more,
difference.
hopefully, and making it a nicer area and bringing more revenue in for taxes and whatnot.
Yes. So I didn't speak to you at that meeting on purpose so that we wouldn't have any ex parte conversations, but I really do, I have to commend our Plan Board. The work that they do is phenomenal, and they were really engaged. I expected it to be a 10-minute meeting. It probably went an hour. You were up there for a long while. The soil borings, however,
Okay.
and this is why I was hoping Mr. Menandier would
Yeah,
be
you might
here.
know, you know a little bit about them. Yeah.
I mean, we have an unusual circumstance here where we've got two different sets of soil borings in one meeting. So the significant element of karst formation underneath this property gives me concerns in terms of sinkholes, obviously. I mean, you can see in the soil borings, there's very little orange where you'd see clay. It's very, very loose sand and a whole lot of lime rock. I read your report in terms of the recommendation for quality control. Having somebody doing QC when you're bringing in the fill, when you're rolling, I mean, you were very specific. Those kinds of construction details are not something that I think we can throw over to our building department. I mean, that's not something that naturally our own inspectors would do. How do we have assurances? You know, I understand why you're asking for the fill. I understand why you're asking for it to be compacted because of what's underneath. I get that part. How are we going to have assurances, though, that all of that is done? I see that where there's recommendations that somebody be on site. Is that the plan going forward?
Yeah, that is the plan, and I submit to you that the assurance is my license, is my due diligence in
Sure, but you're not going to
providing-
be on site, right?
Well, we communicate with the contractor regularly throughout construction processes. So at different phases, in this case, when we're bringing in fill material, yeah, we will have a representative that shows up to the site.
And can you confirm for me that that is because of the substructure, the subsurface limestone?
It is totally quality control related, which
Right.
in this case is to make sure that we're protecting the car sensitive area.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
How about the stormwater pond?
What about it?
What are we we're gonna have sinkholes opening up there. I mean, that would be the natural way of things here in High Springs.
No, and I understand, and in this area in general, right?
Right,
This,
right.
North Central Florida, all the way to Marion County and everywhere, because there's some sinkholes at the Canvas Church retention pond at the moment. If you look at the soil borings, B7 and 8, and actually 5, 6, 7, and 8, the second row, the soil borings are shown on our plan set on sheet 8. So the bottom row are the borings that were done in the retention pond area.
Okay.
And as you can see, we didn't encounter lime rock until 7,
7
9,
feet, yeah.
at 11, and 10. So, you know Florida as well as I do. You never know where you're at. There could be when we're excavating for the pond, we could run into an outcropping. But we have a sinkhole repair plan. We have there's remediation that's required if the contractor runs into that, and the water management district in general requires you to stop work, contact them, notify everybody, including me, and then we come up with a plan to address that.
So as the expert, because I am not, Is there specific construction guidelines for building a stormwater pond in this kind of geology? You know, the fill and everything to be able to take the slab, you were very specific about that. Is there something different that you do with a stormwater pond?
In this case, no, because we're simply cutting. There's very little fill in this area, you know, for where we're proposing the bottom elevation of our pond. We're building a retaining wall along the south and west sides. So the answer is no, outside of your normal construction operations as far as, you know, grading the land. We don't have any concern based on the soil borings that we did to, I think, to 15 foot, and our pond is only 4 foot deep. You know, we don't have any concerns based on those that would require. But I feel like after this discussion and knowing what the borings 1 through 4 look like, that we'll have a conversation with the contractor, just make sure that if anything is to come up, not to try to cover it up, let's address it.
Yeah. I don't know, in terms of our water distribution, this may be something that Jason knows. My concern, to be honest, is if there's any private wells down gradient, it's obviously going to flow, you know, potentiometrically to the river. Do we have private wells, or do we have water distribution lines up there down 27? Do you have you've got city water at your barber shop, and that's farther down, so it should run there.
Right, we're on city water right where we're at, yes.
Okay, okay. Well, then if you're on city water, you're a fair bit down, so.
City all the way down to River Glen.
Okay. That makes me feel better too, so. Yeah, I just wanted to know what kind of, I mean, you were very specific in terms of your site prep, and I really, really appreciate that. I just wanted to make sure that we, you know, in the building department would get assurances that all of your recommendations were followed, since you are the expert, so.
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Mayor, you mentioned the retention wall on the west side of the property. I know you're gonna have to have it sort of on a high hill on 246th Street versus going down west. I'm assuming y'all have that retention where the water's gonna divert back to the back there to protect far as drainage going west towards that home?
Yeah, so we're catching everything on site that we propose. Like, it's getting directed to the retention pond. The retention pond's designed to stage up and then recover, or percolate, right, if you will. We are taking advantage of the pre-condition, right, the pre-post in stormwater design. We do a pre-construction model to determine a volume and a rate of runoff.
Okay.
Going, and then we design it to be less than that in the post condition. And that's a typical FDOT, Water Management District, and any kind of jurisdiction requirement.
Okay.
And this definitely meets that.
I was just worried about the level of 246 going west. It's at a natural slant right now. Y'all gonna definitely have to build up, right?
Our site is being elevated, and that's what she mentioned about the fill. And we are accepting the city's water from we're improving 246, and it is draining towards our site, but we've incorporated that into our retention pond.
Okay, good deal, thank you.
Yes.
So it's designed for a 100-year storm, I assume? Yeah, okay. Which we didn't see with 2 hurricanes last year, so, you know, it's no big deal.
The maximum stage of the 100-year storm is listed at elevation 6387, and the top of the pond is at 65. So we have like over a foot of freeboard.
Okay.
Swanee River requires a 1 foot, 12 inches anyway, but we have well over that. We have, well, I didn't say well over that. We have 1.13 feet of freeboard.
And there's I have not walked the property because I didn't think that would be appropriate. I drove by it. There's no existing sinkholes on the property now.
Not that we witnessed when we surveyed the property.
It's a good place to start, at least.
Yeah.
Okay. I really appreciate you coming. It makes me feel better.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
And again, I thank the contractor so much for being so amenable, because this is not in our code. It's not required, but you did it. If there's a possibility that we could somehow emulate dark sky lighting, that would be great, because of the residences that are around. I know that the plan board talked about lighting too.
The illuminating, it's more of a downward shot, especially coming off of the building and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Any of the service door lights, and on that 27 side, you know, we know that we have those neighbors across the street there, and then on the back side, you got the tree tree line there and the neighbors there as well. And
Yeah.
the home in front.
Okay.
So the auto body shop, yeah. We're definitely trying to take that into account.
Thank you.
So that's actually what I was gonna talk about. So I know a lot of times we favor the residents on the lighting side of commercial, but so I go to the gym and it is pitch black at night because of the way that they have did the lighting. And I actually think it's much more dangerous because when you're trying to turn into the gym, you can't even see where to turn in at because of the lighting being so dull, trying to protect the residents, but we're not protecting the people that's actually going to these stores. And
Well, this good thing is this is only gonna be ran from like 6 o'clock in the morning to maybe 9 or 10 o'clock at night.
Okay.
So it's not gonna be a 24-hour store or anything like that. It's pretty much like he runs the other one now. It's, just a good 12-hour shift, I would think.
I'll make a motion that we accept the site plan for the convenience store.
Second.
all right, any citizen comments? All right, all those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed, same sign. All right. Item number 5, update on fire and police budgets.
Thank you.
You guys have a great night.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Menadier. Appreciate you coming.
I just lost my spreadsheet, I'm sorry. Let me pull it back up. So a few meetings ago, the commission asked to talk about what we've done as far as police and fire, as far as savings. And I wanted to kind of give you an update of where we're at now and some things that we're looking at in the future. So police, this is estimated one-time savings. So we're gonna have one-time savings from the police, we're gonna have recurring savings from the fire. So we had vacancies over at the police. We decided to hold them off for 90 days. Chief said we can hold off for 90 days. We held off 90 days for each vacancy that was out. And the cost with all the benefits and everything, that saved us $47,759. And Chief Shepherd is looking at some other cost-saving measures. Fire is taking the brunt of this. So we reduced the staffing from 5 to 4 per shift. We were able to do that through 2 through natural attrition. One of them is through a voluntary layoff. That voluntary layoff, talking with the firefighter, he said that, hey, I will voluntarily take the layoff. I want to have my insurance through the end of the month. And we have a thing where if we send Kevin to paramedic school, he's got to do 3 years afterwards. If not, he leaves for the 3 years. We prorate the cost of that paramedic school and we get reimbursed for it. Since this is a voluntary layoff, I waived the repayment of the paramedic school. It was at no fault to the firefighter himself. Also, we changed the way that we are changing the way that we do some of the time off. We discontinued Kelly days. And is Kelly days taking effect yet? Because we were waiting through the calendar.
No, Kelly days will take effect February 1st.
February 1st. They do cycles. They set it out a month and they go through. We were mid-cycle. I told them to keep the cycle, and February 1st, there won't be any more Kelly days. Now, the way they do the leave, the PTO over there, is when they take leave, they get charged so many hours out of the day, and then the rest of the day they accrue at a different rate, they spend it at a different rate, different from the rest of the city. So we are looking at the accrual, how it accrues, to make sure that, because the fire department works 24 hours, so they should accrue throughout the full 24-hour shift. So with that, when they take 24 hours, we're gonna charge them a full 24 hours. So the leave it's on par for the rest of the city. So the fire department without the leave, because that hasn't taken effect yet, is saving a recurring cost of $171,350. I haven't talked to Joe about this. I hope it's okay, Joe, but Joe walked into a bad situation over that fire department. And the fire department looks very different than what it does now. Joe has made some tough decisions down there, and, you know, he rightfully so, as a department head, he pushed back on this a little bit. He was trying to do what's best for his staff. But Joe's team has taken the brunt of this. As you can see, this is recurring. They cut their shaft, we're taking Kelly days, we're redoing the PTO. So they were able to save $171,000. With the PTO cost, which has not taken effect, would add another $44,500 in savings. Now, one thing I want to say about these savings is don't hold my feet to the fire on this number, because we don't know how the reduction in staff will affect overtime yet. So as we get people called off sick or taking vacation, people work overtime, we don't have a good grasp on what that is. But I wanted to give you an update to what we've done so far as police and fire. Any questions?
It would be helpful if, once this stuff is all more solidified, if I may, Mr. Mayor, I'm sorry, if we could see prospective budgets and how that works out for a year. I assume you're talking about the $171,350, that's over the course of one budget year. So, you know, but again, I think we should wait for the PTO to kind of, the OT to figure that out.
That's why I broke it up in two statements. We've already cut, the staffing cut goes effective February 2nd.
It's basically in effect right
Yeah, it's pretty much the
February 2nd is
firefighter
the-
that voluntarily laid off, he's burning up a bunch of his leave and taking, so it's pretty much taken effect. So I wanted to disclose that number separate from the 44.5 because we haven't implemented that yet. And I didn't want you to think we were saving that money now when it won't be for another couple months that we start those savings.
Mr. Mayor, if I can just add, Mr. Marshall had asked me to put these numbers together, so just to let you know what the assumptions are. So for two of the vacancies, that's assuming the reduction in staff at the fire department. We're assuming 9 months for 2 of those 3 positions and 7 months for 1 of them. Those have not, none of the savings have been experienced on any of these yet. Even with the police department, those are kind of going from December to March is where we're looking at the savings.
Police have the vacancy already started for police, so you already got the full 100% on one of them.
On one of them, okay.
And we're already starting on the second. We're already a month in on the second one. Yeah.
December to March. And again, that doesn't, like Mr. Marshall said, that doesn't tell you anything about whether overtime has changed or not, because that can always have an impact. And we don't know in advance until you see how many calls you have. So that's really difficult to say. And then the discontinuation of Kelly Days and the change in the PTO. The PTO change has to come to the commission because it was a resolution. So that takes time too. So I'm assuming a smaller number for that because by the time we get that in, it may only be 4 or 5 months worth of savings once that's approved. And the Kelly Days, because of the way the Kelly Days fall, there was one whole cycle, so everybody got their one Kelly Day, so it was fair for everybody. So again, that's just now kind of kicking in. So I just want you to understand, none of these numbers are based on actuals whatsoever. They're kind of starting. I mean, a little bit of police's, but they're definitely not actual numbers, just to manage expectations. So to your point, as we get more information, we can update them.
So I'm sorry. My question, we always say we don't have actuals. Is there not any way that we don't just estimate, okay, what's the average amount of overtime that we probably would do so that we could get closer numbers? Because sometimes we just throw out numbers and then they don't be anywhere near what it is because we don't actually estimate that into, because that can be estimated. That could have been done.
So we can't really estimate the overtime costs because it's as they come on vacation, but it's also as they get sick, how many people call in sick, do regular call-ins. We get a lot of I don't want to say that too negatively, Chief, but we do get a lot of call-ins, so we won't know really how this is gonna affect the overtime until we get into it and see how the staffing works.
Can I speak to the overtime?
Please.
Jeremy?
Please.
When it comes to the overtime with our staffing at 4, anytime somebody calls off or takes a vacation day, we're going to have to staff that position to keep those 4 people in there so we can continue to run both of those vehicles that we run. The reason why we do that, one, contractually with the county, we are required to have 4 minimum manning of 4 in order for them to pay us. Now, we can look at some modifications to that. I really don't want to do that. But if we do, the problem is we drop down to 3, that brings us to 1 vehicle. So when that second call comes out that we could have recouped some money from, we are not able to take that call. So with the 4 personnel, I have part-timers that can fill 10 shifts per month. That's what I have budgeted in my budget, for 10 shifts per month. So those part-timers can fill those 10 shifts based on their availability. We're not saying that they're available for all those 10 shifts, but that leaves 20 more shifts a month, potentially, that we may need overtime. When it comes to officers, I've only got 3 officers. If an officer takes off, another officer has to work. If that other officer can't work, guess who's going to be working? Me. Because I am committed to making sure that our overtime budget doesn't go crazy. However, I can only work so many shifts. And I have no problem doing that because I want to make sure our residents are protected. But in the long run, I don't know how sustainable that will be, having 4. Okay, it also kind of jeopardizes safety for both our residents and our staffing. But we'll do what we need to do. We're going to do what we need to do to make sure we do the best job we can. So, but we will do our best to keep the overtime down. But with only 4 and a minimum manning of 4, anytime somebody's off, either a part-timer has to work, a full-timer has to come in for overtime, or the fire chief's going to work. One of those 3 things are going to happen. So, okay? Any questions?
Yeah, Chief, we talked about individual working out of class instead of having to bring another officer in to pay overtime. Where did that go?
I currently have 2 out-of-class personnel that can pick up those positions. There's 1 on each shift, on 2 shifts, and there's 1 shift that does not have an out-of-class personnel. I have somebody right now currently finishing his packet. It's about a 2.5-month process to get approved to work out of class. I have to be confident in that person that if I'm at my house and that out-of-class person's working, I need to know that they can handle all aspects of the officer's job.
Yes, sir.
So it's about a 2.5-month process for them to get through that. Once that person's done, then we will technically have 2 officers per shift. We'll have an actual lieutenant or captain, and then we'll also have an out-of-class person on each shift. So that should help with that overtime as far as officers go. But I've even wrote on the squad as the paramedic, because if we need a paramedic and I can't get a paramedic to come into work, I can mandatory people, but you can only mandatory people so much before they get burned out and decide they're going to find someplace else to work. And I don't want that. I want to keep our people. So I pick up those shifts every once in a while to help them out. So does that answer your question?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I know last time you and I talked, you were working on that packet with an individual. I believe that's what it was. I was just curious where we were going with that when you said you didn't even mention that, so I was just wondering if something changed with that.
No, he's about a month into his packet right now.
Okay.
Yep, he's working on getting his packet done. And then I have other interests from other members of the department that want to start their packet, but they have to get their minimum qualifications first before they can start. So we've got some people wanting to start their packet, but I have set qualifications to do that, and they're working on getting those qualifications done before they can start their packet.
Good deal. Thank you.
Any other questions?
So, all right, we're down to a minimum staffing of 4. Is that permanent, or are we planning on refilling those positions at a later date?
No, that's.
If you,
Go ahead.
okay.
Go ahead, Joe.
For now, I'm assuming it's permanent. For me, I believe that we've gotten to the bottom, and much like the phoenix rises from the ashes, as things get better in the city,
and we start to be more financially secure, my goal is to bring us back up to where we need to be. I don't know if that's the answer you wanted, but that's the answer I have. Because I feel, one, it's safer for our residents and safer for our personnel. And two, you know, we tried not to go this route. But we certainly at the fire department, and I certainly understand that financially we had to go this route. So my goal is to eventually bring that back, and I may do that through a safer grant of some sort or some kind of grant program to where we can take less financial burden on the city.
So we've got 10 part-time people that can do, or you could pay 10 part-time shifts a month.
We got 10 part-time shifts. We don't have 10 personnel. We've got probably 7 now, I believe.
Are they pretty active?
No. There's only about 3 or 4 of them that are very active, that take shifts regularly. And that's another issue. I would love to bring more part-time personnel in so that I can offset, because I've budgeted for 10 shifts per month, or 10 shifts per month for part-timers to fill. Beyond 10, I'm not budgeted for that. That's actually part of the payroll.
Are we using that, 10 every month?
We're using close to that.
Are we having a lot of sick call-ins?
Sick callings, we don't use part-timers because we really can't. When somebody calls in sick, it's the day before or the night before or the morning of. In that case, we have to find a full-timer to come in, because unless a part-timer has already given Kevin their schedule that says they can work that day, and he can call them and say, hey, I see you are available this day, can you come in, a part-timer come in, then I can't rely on them because they have full-time jobs elsewhere. Suwannee County, we have several fire departments from different municipalities and counties that work for us part-time. So they have regular full-time jobs too. So it would behoove them to pick up overtime at their department rather than come and work part-time for us, because my part-time pay is a lot less than their overtime pay, obviously.
Are we having a lot of sick call-ins?
We don't have that many sick call-ins. We really don't. I would say 2.
They've gone down significantly.
Good.
Yeah, it's significantly down.
Good.
You know, so it's not that bad. The call-offs are not that bad. It's scheduling people off. When you only have 4 on a shift, I can't deny somebody a PTO day because they earn their PTO. And I only allow 1 off per shift. I used to allow 2 off per shift. That's another thing that we've changed in our policies, that we only allow 1 person off per shift. So if I had my policy where we allowed 2 people off per shift, we'd really be in trouble because we'd have to put 2 people on. And that's a large reason why we did away with the Kelly days too, because every 9 weeks, I had a whole month full of Kelly days. So I was having a hard time scheduling, plus it was going to start costing a lot of overtime. So.
Our neighboring city, how many people are they operating with? Newberry.
You're talking about Newberry?
Mm-hmm.
So I'll give you an example with Newberry. Newberry operates with 4 personnel, just like we do. Okay? The difference between us and Newberry only responds 1 piece of apparatus the majority of the time. They don't respond 2 pieces of apparatus. We respond a squad and we respond our engine. If they get an engine type call, they put all 4 of their personnel on that engine and they take the call. That leaves nobody back at the station except for the chief and deputy chief to take a secondary call. If they need the quint, they respond the quint. If they need the brush truck and the tanker, they respond those 2, but they split the crew for something like that. But they only run 1 vehicle. Where that can come into a problem for us is if we only run 1 vehicle and then a secondary call comes out, we just lost $865 because of the county contract. If we're only responding to 1 call at a time, there's a lot of times where we have multiple calls. And when we have multiple calls, we run in 2 different directions sometimes. Sometimes in 3 different directions, because I'll respond to calls also. So does that make sense to you? Mm-hmm. You know, and then when we talk about Alachua County, yes, they have 3 people on their engine, but most of their stations have a rescue in there too, so that makes 5. So technically they have 5 people. Their rescue crew is like our squad. and then they have 3 on their engine, if that makes sense. I can't say all of their stations do, because I don't know that all of their stations have rescues with their engines, but I know that's how they operate.
Mr. Mayor, if I may, Chief, at Newberry also, if I'm not mistaken, the county has an ambulance located there at their fire station.
Yes, they do.
That they staff.
Newberry does not staff.
No,
their-
Alachua County
Yeah,
staffs.
Alachua County staffs.
So
their-
that's not Newberry's responsibility, so if there's a need for paramedics, the county is right there.
Right.
So that's a little bit of a different business model where,
Yeah.
you know, their personnel are responding to different kinds of calls anyway, because the ambulance is right there.
Yeah, the majority of our ambulances come from Station 20 or
Right.
Station 21.
Right.
But we do occasionally, well, more than occasionally, get Newberry's ambulance and sometimes all the way to Station 23. And,
Wow.
You know, so there can be a significant delay, so that makes it even more important that our ambulance or our apparatus show up first, because we can do everything they can, we just can't transport.
Right, right.
So we can stabilize them, get them ready, and save their life before the ambulance gets there, and then they can continue the job and get them to the hospital.
Mhm.
So,
Thank you.
yes.
When do we plan on talking about where we're gonna go next year with the fire assessment, or this year with the fire assessment, I guess? Whenever we get to talking about that to raise it, because I know we're gonna have to raise it again.
Haven't even thought about it.
I'd like to have that conversation sooner rather than later, just because I think people gotta get ready, because I think it's gonna be quite the jump this year.
On the fire assessment? Okay.
Because it would have been last year, it would have been a hell of a jump. And we just didn't know at the time.
Second meeting in February, okay?
That'd be great.
Joe, can we get? Okay.
That way we get,
We'll
I
aim.
want the citizens to get early information off and about this,
Yep.
because this is going to be a jump.
We'll shoot for the second meeting in February.
Mr. Mayor, if I could ask, we would have a quarter's worth of data, at least from the current fiscal year, in terms of fire calls that we could use, right? I mean, it starts October 1. If we use that first quarter,
Okay, I have those first quarter numbers, I just got those from the county.
right,
The
right,
first quarter number was $98,000 that we got from the county.
that we got from them, okay.
The quarter before that, the last quarter of 2025, was 72,000. So if you average that, the 98 plus the 72, because November and December were very busy days, very busy months, very busy months. And we ran 1,900 calls. We ran the most calls we've ever ran for the year. So our call load's not going down any. It's doing nothing but increasing. And we are seeing that there's kind of an offset. But if you take that average, that initial number that we budgeted for from the county, if you use the average, it looks like it's going to be a little higher than what we had budgeted for also.
Really? Okay.
So there might be, and that's saying if the trend stays the same. We don't know if that trend's going to stay the same going into the rest of the year. We know that November and December were very busy months for us. So for us to recoup that was pretty decent. But it may not stay that way. Summertime generally tends to level off a little bit, so it may not stay that way.
Well, and that speaks to Mr. Mayor's point in terms of coming up with solid numbers. We've got years' worth of data in terms of the numbers of calls, and obviously that's going to have gone up as the city is growing. But we should still have some fairly decent data to estimate. I assume November, December are always busy months. Right?
Gotta use projections.
Right, yeah, and like,
Yeah, we can put together projections based on like the last quarter of 2025 and the first
Right.
quarter of 2026.
right,
A fiscal year 2026, not first quarter of 2026. But we can put together some trends of what we see. But we're not always guaranteed that those amount of calls will happen in those different
Sure,
months. I mean,
sure.
we can
Oh,
look
yeah.
back in those months and see that we are starting to trend towards higher call volumes, more calls. You know,
I'm surprised
which
to know that
brings up
summer
the-
months
which
are
brings up the-
quieter.
What's that?
I'm surprised to know that summer months are quieter.
Sometimes.
That's interesting.
And a
wouldn't
lot
have
of it
known that.
depends on the residents, whether they're going away for
Yeah.
months at a time.
Yeah.
I don't know what our snowbird population is here in High Springs, but there's probably some.
Yeah.
and that may be part of it. So.
All right. Any other questions? All right. Agenda item number 6, discuss, consider, and act on legal services agreement.
Mr. Mayor, this is sort of an administrative cleanup item for you all. We tried to sort of summarize how we got here. So in 2016, there was a vote by this commission to approve our contract with Folds Walker. We realized recently that it was never executed, so we have the minutes where it was approved. We just never signed it. And the July 2025 meeting, you opted to continue the contract with Folds Walker. So you're currently under the contract with Folds Walker. It renews every year. We're sort of, right now, we're like mid-season because we go with your budget season, October to September. So this is sort of just an administrative item to get an executed contract in place so that we have that for you all. Happy to answer any questions that you have.
Mr. Mayor, if I might ask a question, we don't identify the charter officer in this contract, is that correct?
So the way that we have it worded, it just to reflect more accurately what is being done in practice right now as of January 8th, 2026. We have the members of the firm, so your charter, I'm sorry, I didn't remember the word for a moment.
The
there.
charter officer.
Right, the charter, your charter requires that the charter officer be, the only requirement is that they be a certified attorney, a board certified attorney, not board certified, but a member of the Florida Bar. So in order to provide you with the most amount of flexibility, it's the members of Folds Walker, so that it's not like one specific individual, it's the attorneys.
Okay, I was always under the impression that Scott was our charter officer, so.
That's how it was previously worded. We made sure that we updated from 2016 the wording so that when you execute it today, it's accurate as to what's happening today.
Okay. My concern, as I stated at the last meeting, is where we have potential conflict with the city of Alachua. When we are stating that we are an affected party in some of their proceedings. What's the plan for how we're gonna handle that?
I don't have any different answers for you than at the last meeting. What I will say is, as far as the execution of the contract and this agenda item, I mean, you're currently under contract with us. We just don't have an executed version. 2016 was renewed, as well as the 2025. So I mean, I have the same answers for you. Is that these are. We've put in place conflict counsel, we've put in place protections in order to avoid those conflicts on those specific issues, and we'll continue to take those proactive steps and be in accordance with the Florida Bar requirements on conflicts of interest. We are committed to maintaining that, both because you're a valued client and also because our licenses depend on it, to the point that was made earlier.
Well, they said they would step away. We kind of hashed this, I thought, unless you're not getting the answer you want. But they said they would step away from dealing with it, and they would assign conflict counsel.
And we have.
Which they have.
Well,
Are you afraid that's not happening?
it didn't happen at the last P and Z meeting. It didn't.
Okay, so then what do we need to do going forward about it?
Well, I mean, that item was continued, so in fairness, that item was continued. However, Scott was still the one running that meeting. So, and there was a lot of conversation about that item for about an hour when they took it off the agenda, and Mr. Walker was still the one. Why wasn't the conflict counsel running that part of the meeting?
The conflict counsel is there to provide advice regarding that specific item. There were discussions regarding general city policies that are not conflict because they're general city policies applicable to every issue. So in those items, Folds Walker doesn't have a conflict regarding, when do we do, how long is public comment or those kinds of things. Conflict counsel, which is, I keep saying conflict counsel, Patrice Boyes is the conflict counsel assigned for this matter. And so she is the individual who's giving advice on those specific items. And had there been a specific, did we apply this to this specific situation, those questions, Patrice Boyes is handling and will handle. It just simply, as you noted, it was continued, so there wasn't a lot of, there was discussion generally around the continuance procedures and what the procedures are. And so those sort of citywide policy discussions are things that are not specific to the matter. So anything specific to the matter is conflict counsel. We just didn't get there at the last meeting.
So then at the next meeting on January 13th, will Ms. Boyce be taking care of all of that?
That, yes.
And Mr. Marshall, since we're talking about this, can I ask who's going to be representing the city to present the letter?
Jennifer Appleby will be the
Okay.
acting city manager. I talked to Danielle, let her know that Jennifer Appleby is going to go to the Alachua P&Z meeting,
Okay.
and Danielle is going to work on getting her a script on what it is that she needs
Okay.
to say.
Okay, thank you.
So we'll be represented.
Okay, my only question is, you said, so the verbiage is changing from Scott Walker to,
Members of,
Members.
and members is defined as the attorneys that work at Volkswagen.
all right, and we have control over which members will be present, right?
You all have, I mean, right now, Danielle and I are the attorneys that are assigned to come here. So unless obviously one of us is, unfortunately, Danielle's with her dog tonight, and poor thing just had surgery. If I were sick or she were sick, someone may cover for us for a one-off. But those are your assigned attorneys. That, yes.
Okay. I entertain a motion.
Make a motion, we approve the legal services agreement.
Second.
Any citizen comments? All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed, same sign. All right, city attorney report and update.
Happy New Year to everyone. It's good to see you all again. Danielle and I are working on, obviously, a number of items. We're working with, we're working on your engineering services contracts, so we have those pretty much where we want them to be. You'll see those at your next meeting. We're happy to answer any questions that you have, obviously, at that meeting or beforehand. If anyone has any questions, please reach out. Obviously, you awarded those contracts to several engineering firms, so we're just making sure that, coordinating multiple engineers to agree to the same thing can be a little bit of a logistical nightmare. So that's what we're working on right now. But we're happy to see you all again, and please reach out with any questions.
All right, city manager update.
A few things. The joint meeting with the Alachua County will be set for May 14th at 6:30. Mayor, we have agenda review meeting with me and Angela and yourself. We're going to do it Zoom, so you can come to my office if you'd like on April 23rd at 3 o'clock. I'm happy to have a conversation with anybody ahead of time if they have something in particular they want on the county agenda. Priest there, you see a lot of work going on at the priest there. They're there working all day, every day. The contractor's working on the demolition, roof removal. It's almost done. They're working on the building, the new infrastructure, and should have concrete work done by the end of next week. The following week, they will begin to install the steel columns and beams. Some Parks and Recs update. They're on your sheet. Take a look. She's got a lot of good events coming out. The one I want to talk about is every Tuesday at 7 p.m. at the Civic Center. There is Zumba for free to the public. So if you have a New Year's resolution, free Zumba.
Gonna be Chad and I. We're gonna be at that.
I would pay good money to watch you do Zumba, Tristan.
I would pay to see it too. Probably gonna be things moving in directions they ain't supposed to go.
And the last thing, I want to end on a good note. So Chief Peters and Kevin went to the Florida Fire Chiefs Association, and our own Kevin Mingan was awarded PIO of the Year for the state of Florida. You know, I got asked to write it up, and sometimes I struggle with write-ups. I don't like, I'm not a big bragger. I have problems doing that, but when you're writing a write-up for somebody of the caliber of Kevin Mangan and the stuff he does. Take a look. We had 3 hurricane events, and he had information going out. Anytime there's a road blockage, anything that affects public safety from the fire side. We do have another PIO in here, Minor, please. You know, he does their Facebook. He's not PIO of the year, though. I just want to say, you know, yet. He's got to step up the game. Also, Kevin just attended some advanced PIO training down there, so we should get even better service from him. So that is all I have. Any questions? No? Thank you.
Right, Commissioner Howell.
Legislative days are upon us, the end of the month. Something I wanted to talk about with you guys while we're sitting up here. A couple ideas coming from other commissioners around the state is they sit down for like a roundtable discussion, like a workshop. Basically the agenda is general discussion. And instead of us having something that we must talk about there, it allows us to sit with the public around, and we can bring up things that maybe we need to discuss or that we can discuss, you know, that maybe we don't discuss at public meetings. So I think that's something that we can think about. Again, it's just like a workshop. Bring your concerns or ideas, and we talk about them there. So I think it would be a great idea. But that's it.
Commissioner Grunder.
Have we started taking any steps yet to run that, the papers through so we can see how we missed the PO?
Yeah, we have. We sat down yesterday. We understand we get a full presentation. I wasn't expecting for tonight. We understand where it went wrong in Springbrook, what the problem is, and we're working right now to do policies and procedures to make sure, briefly, not to get deep into it, is our software. When you do a PO, I don't think I have a PO, you have an expense line. It says, we're gonna take $800,000 from this expense line. It doesn't tell you where the revenue is coming from. But when we did that owner purchasing, direct purchasing, it was 5 different things that we had to buy, and it all went on one PO with one line. So when you make a payment to the one line, our system, Springbrook, closes the PO. So it thinks it's been paid, because we made a 10% or 15% payment in the beginning, and when we did that payment, it closes the PO out, not knowing that the system doesn't know that there's more money to come out because it's only one line. So what we do now when we do, it very rarely happens where we have more than one line on a PO. That's where it went wrong. So we had, I'll say 5, I think it was 5 different items on that PO. And when we paid that 10%, Springbrook closes that PO. We have 4 more things that come out, and there's no more money out there. There's no more surprises. That's what I've been poring over for weeks, is to make sure there's no more surprises. So now what we do is if we have, I call it incremental PO. So what happens is we take 10% here, and then at this completion milestone, we pay this and pay this. What they've done, instead of doing it all encompassing on one, we do 5 separate lines on the PO. So when we have a payment, it closes out the line of the PO, but the other 4 are still there. We have a pretty antiquated system, Springbrook. It's not, it's old.
How long have we had it?
Long, before.
Yeah, we've had it for some period of time. We had an older system than the one we currently have. Gosh, I can't even remember what year we implemented to this system. But due to the cost, we're in this confinement.
Right.
Right. There, we've run into several issues with Springbrook as far as like when we did the AMI, we had to find patches to make that work because we do not have the, is it the cloud version?
Correct,
Yeah.
we don't have the cloud version.
Right, so that's why our payroll actually went out also, because we can't do the things we need to do with our payroll system because we don't have the cloud version. So we had to go outside of Springbrook to do that.
What's it cost to get a new system?
I talked to Diane about it. We're getting a hold of Eric May to go out to see what vendors are out there. In the past, I've used a system called Munis, very robust, very modern, lots of functionality, hundreds of thousands of dollars. We can't afford Munis. So I'm looking, at which different vendors could meet our needs and give the functionality that we need. So we're looking into that now.
Yeah, we definitely gotta get something. That would have been great expense for ARPA.
I don't think ARPA would have covered.
Couple hundred grand?
It'd be
180 was
Yeah.
what we had put out for the LDC, which I'm glad we're getting, but we also spent ARPA money on other things.
Sure, spent a lot. Does that answer your question?
Yes. Yeah, it does for now.
All right, Commissioner White.
Mr. Mayor, to piggyback on what Commissioner Grunder was asking about, did the firm that did our audits, have they been able to answer to why it is that they didn't find that? Because, there was a couple of audits that were done, and it didn't come up on their radar.
That is not in their scope. That is not
Okay.
when they're auditing.
So it wouldn't have been in the data set they were looking at?
No.
So we would
Not
not
at
have
all.
expected them to find it
Not
then?
at all.
Okay.
Not at all. And I will add, you'll get a complete report, but we've had a lot of conversations about it recently. And the purchase order was entered in February of '23. The first payment wasn't even made until January of '24. When it was paid, I wasn't here. I was
Right.
sent home for 3 months because I told the truth. And then the next payment was another 18 months to 2 years later. So there was typically when you have a purchase order, you have multiple receipts on, it all happens in a relatively short period of time. It is extremely unusual where you have a purchase order that you make a payment and then it sits for a year and a half anyway. So it's a complete anomaly because it's not how we typically do business anyway. So it's just an outlier, but as Mr. Marshall mentioned, we changed the way we did this a long time ago, not because this invoice came, we just changed it as, I got familiar with our system and staff got built up, so.
Mr. Marshall, to your point in terms of the Springbrook closing it out, with the ODC purchases that we made, would it, in hindsight, obviously this is hindsight, would it have made more sense to have 5 separate POs, or is that more cumbersome?
That PO,
Okay, so
and you
you-
have to do a change order, which we do with other POs, and we have done since then. You do a change order to add lines to it if you're not gonna receive the whole thing at one time. So that's how we do it now.
So the PO as it was entered, it was a singular line item, and what we should have had, what would have made it easier to track was 5 separate line items under that one PO.
Yep.
For all of the ODC. In terms of what you've looked at so far, are we certain there are no other change orders, nothing else coming? Because, my concerns in real time when they were constructing was all of the sinkholes that were opening up out there, all of the fill dirt that had to come in. That comes with a cost that wasn't prepared for.
So we've looked through, as far as like this PO, the owner direct purchasing, there's no more. We've looked and
Okay.
it's out.
Okay.
We don't do owner direct purchasing very often. We haven't done it since I've been here. It's not something that's common. So we went through, we made sure there's no more outstanding POs, and we're pretty confident with that. Also, what I've been doing is part of the sewer grant, we had to pay $2 million for, and when we weren't expecting $800,000, it got me thinking, well, that's a lot of a $2 million pot. So I wanted to make sure that we weren't on the hook for more money on this grant as far as our match, and we're tightening that up, but I am very confident that we have met the $2 million.
For the ODC portion you're talking
No,
about?
for the total.
For everything. So if there are cost overruns, have we gotten final bills? You said that you guys just walked the property today, so Is the project considered complete? Have we received all of the final invoices?
No, we haven't. So we did substantial walkthrough today where they did the final punch list, and there was a number of things that they've got to come through and fix, some electrical stuff and Jason left. So they're gonna come back over the next weeks and repair what's on that punch list. So the project's not done until all that's done, then we'll get final bills. Does that sound right, Diane?
Beth Brown, who does all of our reimbursement requests and manages all that, and Jared I made a list of every single invoice on the project, when it was paid, what it was for, da-da-da-da. And I've sent it to them to look at to make sure there's nothing. We paid 1.98 million, I believe, out of pocket up front in the project. And there's approximately 450,000 remaining on the reimbursements. So we still have another, I don't know, probably 250, we think, to be billed on that. We also have liquidated damages and excess hauling expenses that we had because of delays in the project. So that's another 230,000 that's sitting kind of in a holding pattern.
I don't understand what you're talking about in terms of liquidated damages.
So
Simplify
we have
it
a
for me.
liquidated damages because there was delay in the project because of work, and I would need Jason to explain the details of what held it up, but it's on the SGS side. They're the general contractor.
Right.
And so we have approximately $230,000 being held back on their contract right now while that's being evaluated. So it's not final, but there's potential that we would have that as well. So again, I'm going to talk to Jared and Beth on Monday or Tuesday next week.
You would have to pay that?
Go through, no, that would be coming back to us because it's part of the contract with the contractor if there's a delay in the project, if they don't meet their deadlines.
So then we don't know yet if we've received all of the final invoices.
We haven't received all the final
them all.
invoices. We
won't
haven't.
until the project's complete. They
What
gotta-
if, just projecting, because we had no contingency built in with this budget, what if when we get all the final invoices, we find that we're $500,000 over budget? Is the state going to cover that? Is the grant money going to cover that? What do we do?
That's a legal question with our contract with the contractor about the project. Because right now, we have a broken down list of tasks that CPH, which was Metower, is billed for at each demarcation point throughout the project. So we know what each of those are, and we know what SGS's contract is, and we know what we've been paid so far. So that's why there's about 450,000 left in the reimbursable portion that we're waiting on. We've got about 200,000 out there right now we're waiting to get reimbursed for, and then there's another couple bills that are coming. So that's why I'm meeting with them to make sure that that is encompassing everything.
So when you say we've got a couple more bills coming,
That's like the final billing from SGS.
Right.
I'm saying as part of that task list that we know about. You know, the contract that we have in place, all those steps, where they're not done. They haven't sent their final bills. Like Jeremy said, there's a punch list, they're going through the punch list. So until we get the final billing and it's all been signed off on, we will not have received those, but there's nothing to indicate that there would be anything outside the contract at this point.
We checked today, with Met Tower, we're on budget, we're good. I know, it was tight. We did a lot of cuts, we had to make a lot of changes, and Jason left, but there's different things where we had, like, there's supposed to be a structure over this piece to help kind of protect it, and we couldn't afford it. It was $80,000, so we did something different, a cheaper thing to save some money there. We've done a lot of cutting to make sure that we stay under the budget to the standards. The numbers are
Right,
looking good.
right.
Everything's looking good over there. we're on
I'm
budget.
pretty sure they redesigned the infiltrated wetlands to incorporate a rapid infiltration basin
did.
because it was
They did.
a bit more cost-effective. So, I mean, I know that they've been trying, but you're right, I've seen some of those effluent numbers, and they do look good.
Yep.
I'm just concerned about what's out there that we might not know about, because there had to be change orders with the sinkholes they were having to deal with, so.
Not my project, this is, you
Right.
know, we're just paying the bills, but we asked Jared quite a few times about whether we're going over budget, and he said no. When the sinkholes first were an
Yeah.
issue.
I ask them every meeting. There's three things I ask them. One is, are we on time? Which we're not.
Right.
We're way off.
Right.
I can bend a little on that. Is it being done to the standard? The numbers speak for themselves. So the standard's been met, and are we on budget? 2 out of 3 were pretty good. Time got delayed from sinkholes and
Yeah.
whatnot. But
Yeah, for sure. Okay. And I had a question for you, Commissioner Grunder, in terms of, I've seen a couple of times where it's referenced that you asked Mr. Marshall in our meeting, I think in November, why did Mrs. Weller know the timeline before we did? I met with Mr. Marshall before that meeting, and I assumed that we all did, but maybe you didn't, because, well, I mean, it was right before the election. You might have been very busy.
I met with him.
So you did know?
I
the
didn't know
timeline.
all of it, no. I believe
Okay.
there was information that Ms. Weller had that I did not have.
Okay, but you sat in his office and you saw the whiteboard
I
with the
sure did.
timeline. Okay, so we did know, we just hadn't talked about it yet, so I wanted to make sure that.
Well, I stand by that
Right.
statement that I believe Ms. Weller had some information that I did not have at that time. I believe there were a couple emails and a couple other things in there, so.
Well, yeah, I
Yes, we
mean, I
had
think
the
that was
meeting,
a.
But I also know it was a fluid situation at the moment, but.
Yeah, yeah. Well, and it was also just a whiteboard kind of, here's what we know, and there was still a lot to be determined, so.
Well, I'll tell you,
Okay.
I still have concerns about how this all came out and about how everything went down. I still will tell you, and I will tell every citizen out here, and I will tell it on record, that I am still concerned that there are things that we don't know.
Well, I think there are. I mean, Mr. Marshall and Ms. Stone are still looking into the depth and breadth of it, so I think you're right. I mean, we don't have a final answer yet, right? So, okay.
Yeah, I think to piggyback on that, I think the extent of knowledge was not there. Because even when I met in the office, they were said that Diane had no knowledge of it, and then Diane sat here and she said that it probably did run through my desk. And see, that's the type of stuff that make you go, because you just said she didn't know anything, and then you said you probably did have some knowledge of it. So I think the extent of knowledge was not there initially in his presentation in the office, and that's probably where Commissioner Grunder is saying the extent of information wasn't there.
I'd be happy to speak to that. When the assistant city manager asked Grace to put in a purchase order, that's a pretty standard thing. Department heads will go if their person's not there. It's assistant city manager asked her to put a purchase order. She did. At the time, the step I have in the process is anytime any of those documents are put in, I have to go in the computer and hit commit. Now, keep in mind, I've been here about 6 months at that time, and I'm still figuring out how the system works. And I was not involved in this construction project one bit. We were not participatory in any of the construction projects. So the fact that a purchase order came in, it was put in under the specifications of the assistant city manager, which is perfectly normal, and I approved it so it could go through the process. There's nothing extraordinary about that. It wasn't anything I would have remembered or thought about, because we do dozens of these every day, and there wasn't anything exceptional about it. I knew there was a big construction project. I knew that Bruce had given her the specifics on what to put in, and that's what I matched the numbers he wrote down to what the numbers were that she put in the computer, and they matched. That's really the extent of it. So it's not that I'm saying I didn't know but I knew or whatever. It's a completely routine process to approve a purchase order, and if it was something that Bruce did under the project he was managing, I wouldn't have questioned anything about it. It made sense. It was a construction project, and I really didn't give it a lot of thought. It wasn't anything that I was approving or that I needed to, that was like under my department and that I was checking on. He was right there and stood right by her while she was doing it, she said. So there was nothing extraordinary about it. So yes, I would have had to hit the button that said, yes, go in the computer, and literally that's what it is. It's called committing it. And there's a handful of people that have authority to do that, because you have to have separation of duties. Angela does it all the time too. And so, yes, I would have had to have committed that. I would have had to go on the computer and do that button. That doesn't mean I remember something from February of 2023. The information we have, we know because we went back and pulled up a bunch of information and tried to piece it together. So there's really you know, there's no big secret, no one's hiding anything, no one did anything wrong. It's just a matter of, it was a very long time ago. I was still very new to it, and Bruce was managing that project. That's it.
That, I'll say, that's unacceptable. It's unacceptable. That's unacceptable. That doesn't fly with the way things should be done. I understand missing things, I do. I think we all do. I think all the citizens can get down with that too. But $1 million? And it just, you know, and I feel like we have brushed to this, and I feel like we have just made it okay and kind of gotten by it because it's uncomfortable, and that is unacceptable. That is, the way we're behaving on this is grounds for this happening again and again and again. We've blamed systems, we've blamed being at home, we've said all these things. What we have done is absolutely drained this city at this point, and that is factually correct. And the fact that we keep minimizing it is infuriating. And the fact that we've had citizens concerned about written reports and being told, no, we're not gonna do one. I am extremely upset with the way this has gone down. I'm extremely upset with the things I have heard from staff members. I am not very confident at this point, and I know a lot of citizens who aren't either. So that's where I stand currently on this, and that only adds to it.
I had zero control over this purchase order being closed. I was not here. I was sent home because I reported
We're not gonna have an
people.
argument
No,
from
I'm
the
not
dais
gonna have
down.
you
We're not doing
discredit
that.
me, though.
I'm just, excuse me.
I don't want you to discredit me because I was not even here. I had been sent home for submitting a report to the commission
We're
about
not
my
having an argument,
concerns.
like I just said. We're not doing that. That's not appropriate for right now.
Well, it's not appropriate for you to say things about me when I
It's
wasn't
appropriate
here.
for me to want people to be held accountable in this city.
100%.
That's what I was voted in for.
100%.
That is
I don't
100%
disagree
appropriate.
at all.
Okay, Diane, we're done. We're not gonna argue about this in public.
The only other thing I had a question about was if we have any updates on the joint venture with the community outreach, if we're going to be able to go forward with that, or don't know if we're going to. They've reached out to me asking if we had any updates, and I told them not yet, but if there's anything that I can help with, I'm more than happy to help. Whatever you guys need or don't need, and that may be something that we could put on the May 14th joint meeting that we could discuss with the county. I don't know. I mean, that's coming up pretty soon, so. But if there's something I can do to help, I'd be happy to help. And congratulations, Kevin. That was my first thing on here, and I didn't even get to say it, but congratulations. That's outstanding. Thank you, sir.
Vice Mayor Bloodworth.
Yeah, I was just gonna ask where we were with the 800,000, about the 2 million, if we had the money to cover and where we were that, but most of that's been answered. Commissioner Grunder, I wish you hadn't have gone that far. You were basically getting on her, but yet you wasn't giving her the due diligence to stand up for herself if you were insinuating that she did any wrong.
I didn't use her name at all.
I know you didn't. I know. That's what I'm saying. But it's insinuating that she was the problem, but yet she needs to defend herself. You
I
made
think
your
she's done that
comments
in most
publicly,
meetings.
so she wanted to be able to be on public record defending herself. I don't see a problem with that, but you got to give her a chance to at least defend herself in some aspect.
Commissioner Bloodsworth, she's defended herself numerous times, and I'm not even saying that she's the entire problem here.
I get that,
I wish
but
that you guys wouldn't make it about one single person. I wish that we would be more honest and open, and we would actually be willing to have the conversation. I understand. People have defended themselves quite often. In fact, at every meeting, there's quite a bit of defense going on.
I mean, is it worth us putting it on the agenda for us to have this conversation?
I think my workshop idea would be great.
may I finish?
Mr. Bloodsworth, let me ask a question real quick.
Okay.
Do you want to, as a group, do we want to do a workshop before the next meeting? The reason I ask that is the lobbyists, I talked to you, Commissioner Howell, I asked the lobbyists about what bills are being presented that we should know about for this, action days, and he sent me 30 bills I need to research. So if you want to have a workshop, maybe the next meeting would be a good one, because it'll be prior to legislative action days. Is that good with the whole commission to do a workshop? And we'll just put it as general discussion, and
As
we
a
want-
separate meeting or as part of the meeting? I mean, do we want to do it just like before the meeting, like we would do a CRA?
you guys want to just do a night where we just do it, not even have a meeting, just do workshop?
That's up, I know everybody's got schedules and everything else, but I want to go into it as general discussion, so we don't have, there's not something that we have to talk about, and then we can speak. You know, that's what I want.
Okay.
So it could be before, it could be a different day.
Do you think there would be benefit to us having that before we went to legislative action days?
Yeah, for sure. I'm sure there's things that we could talk about. I know I'm still reading on some of the bills and different things like that, so for sure. But there are certain times, and, you know, maybe not sitting up here arguing, and there's a lot of insinuations and all these other things, but I think a nice round table discussion to where we can put some stuff on the table, it would be really beneficial for all of us.
Yeah, I mean, I would be open for us to do it before the meeting on next meeting, and then see how it works.
Yeah.
And then if we need an extended one, we just come back and we plan an
To
extended
be
one.
discussed, there's a lot of things up here tonight that I'm assuming would be discussed. If we did it before the next meeting, you'd only have an hour, unless you want to start the workshop at 4:30, but I don't know how that works to everybody's schedule.
I honestly, being the first time, I think an hour would be perfect.
Hour, okay.
Yeah, if we got to stop, we stop.
But just a general
Yeah,
discussion?
just general discussion, whatever we want to talk about.
Yep, we'll make it
Now,
happen next
I was under the impression when we had these one-on meetings with you in your office, we asked questions, and you were gonna investigate and finding out where this went. So why do we need to keep digging this up till you bring back evidence or information that we can use that you can share with us how this went down, and before we get into this kind of discussion?
Sure.
That's all basically what I'm saying. Why do we need to keep going on till you finish doing what you're gonna do, and then bring back the facts to us?
Well, I think that is important, because if some commissioners feel like they're not getting the same information as other commissioners, this makes sure that everybody's getting the same information.
Everybody gets the same information in my one-on-ones. Everybody got the same information in my office when we looked at the whiteboard. The only time you guys would get different information during a one-on-one or a situation like that is your individual questions. I had Angela sit in the office. I said the same thing, went down the same line. Everybody got the same speech about what I knew at that time. This is what I knew at that time. So everybody gets the same information. When I call you on your one-on-ones, it's not a secret. I ask you, how's it going, blah, blah, blah. We have our little small chat. Did you get a chance to look at the agenda? Do you have any questions, comments, or concerns I can get for you before the meeting? The only time that my conversation with any of you changes is your individual questions. For example, I had a one-on-one with Commissioner White. She got the same question, but she asked about the geology reports of the convenience store. So that's a conversation I have that's going to be different than the conversation I'll have with Commissioner Howell, because he don't care about limestone and crass geology, but, and also each of you has different strengths. So I call on you for the different strengths. I use Commissioner Howell and Grunder for first responder. How do I look into this? I've called them both for advice. When it comes to geology, I call Catherine White. When I come to small businesses and community, I go to Mayor Miller. And when I want to know about the history and how do the people who have lived in this city a long time, I go to Vice Miller Bloodsworth. You all have different things I come to. But everybody, when I put information out to the commissioners, I am very big about unbiased information. You may not like the information, but I'm giving you unbiased information. Everybody in the one-on-ones, and when you're in my office looking at the whiteboard, everybody gets the exact same information. And the reason I asked Angela Stone to go in that is so she can attest that everybody got the same information.
Yeah, I'm not saying that you were given different information, but just like you just said about the questions. So that way, when Commissioner White asks that question, even though you might not think that Commissioner Howard cares, he might do care. And he might need to hear that so that way that we'll know it all as one. Because you may think that that is that person's only strength, but they might have another strength that you just never knew about.
Another thing about it is I would spend all day on one-on-ones. I have a method to everything I do. The way I call you when I do one-on-ones, or if there's information I got to put out, is I call the mayor first, I call the vice mayor second, I call from then the other three commissioners. It's from seniority. Commissioner Howell's always the last one I call. It's just the way it is, you know. And last year when Commissioner Grunder, I'm sure he'll attest to it, he was the first person I called for every single thing. And I give, you know, when I first started here, there was some things that I struggled to grasp. Is a mayor. The mayor on this board is nothing more than the person that does the meeting. But with that, I hold it to a certain thing. I talk to Andrew now, and I did it when Commissioner Grunder was mayor, and I did it when Commissioner White was mayor. I talk to you guys before every meeting, a few days. I usually call you Monday or Tuesday. You two at the end, I kind of let it be whenever, because you guys' schedules are a little bit unpredictable compared to these three. But where was I going with that? There's a method to it. And you know, I call the mayor every week. I've asked Commissioner or Mayor Miller. He comes in and signs checks during the day. I asked him last week, when you do that, can we sit down for 10, 15 minutes so I can give you an update? I do that. The only reason I treat the mayor a little different, and it happened with the three, is you're elected by the body. I'm going to give you a weekly update. And soon as the mayor changes, a new person is the first one to call. But back to the question is, if I call all of you and I get down to Commissioner Howell, and Commissioner Howell has a question about saving horses from sinkholes, and I give him information, then I got to come back to the beginning of the call tree and give you all the information. Well, if I call you, and then Commissioner Bloodsworth is my next phone call, and he asks a question, then I got to call you back and get you that info. I can't do that. So I give you guys all the same information and answer your one-on-one questions. You know, the engagement level is different. Some people have very in-depth, lengthy conversations. Some of them I check through it and I have no questions on the agenda. Some of my one-on-ones take an hour. Some of them take 5 minutes. It's just the information that you need, and we get it for you. That's why I do it on Mondays and Tuesdays, so I can give staff a couple days to get ahead of the questions, so they can get the information, so we're not sitting on our hands up here. That's why I call you in the beginning of the week, on a week when there's a meeting during the week. So I try to get unbiased information and try to get you guys all the same information so you can ask the questions that you need. That's a long answer to a short question. I'm sorry.
No, like I think we get it, but I was just going back to saying I think that it's the reason why Commissioner Howard is asking about that. So that way, whatever question come up, we all hear it.
Right.
With a workshop.
Instead of being the first time we hear it, sitting up here, we got to make a decision.
Yeah.
So that's one. I mean, and it could be about it.
You know, and you don't have to call me Wednesday after you done talk to me Monday. You're just gonna talk to me while you're talking to him at the same time. All right. My question is, 2024 audit, has it been completed yet?
2024 audit, so it is mostly done. They've got, Diane just left. They are in, so we're behind on audit. We were 2 years behind on audit. So we've been working nonstop to get audits caught up. But now they're into the regular audit season. So we're in a gray out area because the auditors are engaged with people who are on time. They're doing their normal audits. they don't have time to get us caught up because they're working with the cities who have been on time and who are in compliance. So they're gonna take, I think the answer to your question shortly is I'll wait for Diane, because the audit's not done. The answer is the audit's not done, it's getting worked on, it's almost done. What they're doing too is, because we're behind, as we fix things in the 24 audit, as they need information or they need to change things, we do it for 25. So 25 will go a lot quicker than 24. 24 went a lot quicker than 23. 23 took a long time. But as we fix stuff in 23, it helped make 24 go smoother. And now that we're fixing stuff for 24, 25 will go even smoother and quicker.
Okay, so we're basically like a year behind.
We were 2.5 years behind.
I'm saying, but currently.
Now we're finishing up 24 and we'll roll right into 25.
So 25, are we projecting to be on time
I
or
hope
late?
so. That was my whole goal is, if nothing else, if you fire me in 6 months, I want to say nothing else other than audits are caught up.
And then.
Because I don't know what I've done. I can't do any metrics on my success on what I've done for the city because I have no metrics to compare it to because I don't have audits to show us what it's done. So I can't tell you what the bottom line, I don't even know what I'm working with because we don't have these audits. So I want to get them done. Another thing is the audits highly impact the CRA. The CRA has a whole different audit system, and JLAC, do you guys know what JLAC is? Joint,
Legislative Audit Committee.
yes.
What she said.
If we don't get these audits done, they will withhold the funding. They'll withhold funding, and so the CRA is really impacted by these audits. And Amy, every time I'm in there, she asks me about it. And Diane has poured herself into it. That's all she does is audits right now.
So that's the penalty that you get, money withheld. You don't actually get fined.
We get money withheld from JLAC.
Okay. All right.
We were able to get it, the last audit, JLAC gave us a deadline and we beat that deadline by 2 days. I was nervous.
Wow. All right. Do we have any updates on the Boy Scout hut building?
No.
What about the cafe?
Go
ahead.
I didn't hear what you asked.
I was going to ask another question. Go ahead.
So the properties is at the attorney's office, and we've got to get surveys, and there's different things that go along with selling a property. The Boy Scout hut, it's already on there. It's on the list to be sold. What was the other place you were asking about?
The Catholic Charity.
Catholic Charities, that's not on there. Catholic Charities, we're waiting to see if they can financially sustain what they're doing. By the sounds of it, and I hate to speak out of turn, but it does not sound like they're gonna be able to sustain it very long. So once they get out of there, we will probably look at what's the option with the Catholic Charities, but the Boy Scout hut is on slate to be sold.
Mr. Mayor, if I could ask a question, that would be the only location we could potentially have a joint outreach center with the county. Do we have any other location where we could house that if it moved forward?
When we talked to the county originally about doing a community center out here, that space wasn't big enough. They needed a bigger space.
So then that may be the short answer to that long question. We may not even have a location.
Oh
that
yeah,
would be
no.
usable.
Yeah, no, we don't. Unless we were gonna shut everybody out of the museum, they need the entire building.
Wow.
Yeah, that's what they were looking for.
That's what the county required?
When Mayor Miller and I sat down, that was the main roadblock that we couldn't get over is the space that they needed.
Was that the county's direction, or was that the Alachua Children's Trust?
Alachua Children's Trust. Yeah.
But how do they partner with the county? I don't know that the county, they were coming into that, but the Children's Trust do they want to partner with that whole effort? Or was that something they wanted to do as a standalone?
I'm not sure. Is that a good topic to bring up in our county and commission?
It is. It's on
Okay.
for the agenda.
Okay. So the LCD rewrite, how has the company been working out?
So they are finishing up their analysis of it, and then they will present with, they will start getting the board's feedback, the planning board's feedback, and then public comments. So they're finishing up the first phase of it.
All right. And then as far as the Employee of the Year, please submit all your nominees' requests to Angela by next Thursday.
Are we allowed to do that too?
You can do that.
Ooh.
I don't see why not. You got somebody you want to recommend? Recommend. We've gotten some pretty good recommendations too.
Good.